North Korean troops, sent by Kim Jong Un to aid Russia in Ukraine, are reportedly abandoning their posts, and some are even rumored to be siding with Ukraine. What's behind this shocking defiance, and what does it mean for Putin's war and Kim's grip on power? Let's unravel this unfolding story of desperation, betrayal, and geopolitical chaos. But how did North Korea, a country with no direct ties to Ukraine, get pulled into this conflict? Number 9. Context: North Korea's unexpected involvement in Ukraine. When Vladimir Putin launched his special military operation in the year 2022, he envisioned a swift victory, capturing Kyiv and cementing Russia's dominance. Instead, the war dragged on, with Ukraine's resistance, supported by Western allies, turning the conflict into a grueling stalemate. Facing heavy losses in manpower and equipment, Putin sought an unlikely ally: North Korea. By mid-year 2024, Kim Jong Un's regime and Russia formalized a military pact. Soon after, between 11,000 and 12,000 North Korean troops arrived in Russia, marking the first large-scale deployment of foreign regular forces to aid the Kremlin. Intelligence reports also confirmed shipments of artillery shells and rockets from North Korea to Russia, flouting UN sanctions. For Putin, this was a bid to bolster his war effort. For Kim, it was a chance to secure critical resources like food, oil, and military aid. As these soldiers stepped onto Russian soil, they believed they were heroes in a strategic alliance. But what greeted them was far from what they were promised. Number 8. The deployment: a harsh reality for North Korean troops. The North Korean soldiers sent to Russia found themselves in dire conditions. Despite promises of financial compensation, these troops were ill-equipped and poorly trained for modern warfare. Language barriers, with one translator for every 30 soldiers, hampered coordination with Russian forces. Soldiers' earnings, touted at $2,000 monthly, were largely seized by the regime, leaving families with little to show for their sacrifice. Elite units like the Storm Corps struggled in Ukraine's flat, open terrain, an environment vastly different from the mountainous regions they trained. Reports of food shortages, inadequate medical supplies, and outdated weapons added to their plight, leaving many soldiers disillusioned. What do you think about this alliance between Russia and North Korea? Will it hold under pressure, or is it doomed to collapse? Share your thoughts below. We're curious to hear your take on this fragile partnership. If you thought their deployment was already a challenge, wait until you hear about the crushing conditions they face on the front lines. Number 7. Conditions faced by North Korean soldiers. North Korean soldiers deployed in Ukraine are facing a brutal and harsh reality, far removed from the rigid, controlled environment of their homeland. While many of these soldiers are assigned non-combat roles, such as manual labor, others are sent directly into the chaos of the front lines, fighting alongside Russian troops. However, these soldiers are often ill-prepared for the modern nature of the conflict. Equipped with outdated weapons and gear, they find themselves vulnerable in a fast-evolving war where technological advancements and strategic expertise are key to survival. The difficulties go beyond the battlefield. Reports suggest that the North Korean troops are enduring severe shortages of food, medical supplies, and ammunition, conditions that exacerbate the already harsh nature of their deployment. As if the physical hardships weren't enough, they also face immense psychological strain. Isolated from their families and the outside world, these soldiers are unable to communicate with anyone back home, leaving them emotionally detached and mentally strained. The most glaring issue was the language barrier. None of the North Korean soldiers spoke Russian, creating immediate challenges in communication. Coordination between North Korean and Russian forces became a logistical nightmare. This obstacle hindered everything from basic operations to strategic planning. Training was also a major problem. Leaked footage from the front lines showed North Korean soldiers struggling with basic military tasks. In one video, a soldier was seen pointing at a sheet of paper, asking a Russian trainer how to pronounce a Russian word. This scene exposed the lack of preparation and the chaos that ensued when these soldiers were thrown into an unfamiliar war zone with inadequate training. Moreover, The pressure to remain loyal to Kim Jong Un is constant and intense. Disobedience or attempts at defection are met with severe consequences, not only for the soldiers themselves but also for their families. Despite the immense risks, reports have surfaced that some North Korean soldiers are considering fleeing to escape the unbearable conditions they are facing. These soldiers are not just pawns in a distant conflict, they are part of a much larger geopolitical strategy. North Korea's support for Russia and Ukraine is a calculated move, offering military assistance in exchange for weapons and aid. But even the most disciplined soldiers can only endure so much. What would push them to defy Kim's iron grip and risk everything to escape? Number 6. Reports of defection. Reports of North Korean soldiers panicking and even attempting have shocked many, given the strict discipline and control traditionally enforced by the regime. Many are reportedly struggling with severe psychological stress, cut off from their families, unable to communicate with the outside world, and overwhelmed by the bad environment. Is it any wonder that some, particularly those stationed on the front lines, have started expressing a desire to flee? Yet, the danger of defection is immense. The regime's description of escape attempts is ruthless, not only for the defectors themselves but also for their families back home. While no successful defections have been confirmed, sources like NK News and the Korea Herald report that soldiers' morale is crumbling, and some are beginning to question their loyalty to Kim Jong Un. This growing disillusionment is a surprising development, especially for an army known for its rigid discipline and totalitarian control. These rare reports suggest that the psychological toll of the war is taking a significant toll, leading to cracks in the facade of unquestioning loyalty. One story reported by the Kiev Independent in October revealed that 18 North Korean soldiers had deserted their positions in the Kursk and Bryansk regions, not far from the Ukrainian border. The exact reasons behind their desertion remain unclear, but fear seems to have been a key factor. Interestingly, Russian commanders reportedly tried to hide this defection, likely fearing the embarrassment it would cause for both Putin and Kim Jong Un. Further details came from the Hankyoreh, a South Korean newspaper, on October 22nd. According to their sources, these soldiers were left stranded in the woods for several days with no food and no instructions from their Russian superiors. Faced with starvation and thirst, they made the difficult decision to flee, hoping for a chance at survival. After running more than 60 kilometers from their original positions, they were eventually hunted down. What happened to them after their capture remains unclear, but reports from Business Insider suggest that North Korean soldiers caught attempting to defect face severe discipline. What drives soldiers conditioned for loyalty and obedience to abandon their posts in the dead of night? The reasons are as chilling as they are revealing. Before exploring, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just hit the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel so much, and if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Deal. Number 5. Reasons for fleeing. In a phone interview with Radio Free Europe, former North Korean soldier Han-Sung Lee, who served in the Artillery and Reconnaissance Battalion, shed light on the grim situation faced by his fellow countrymen sent to fight in Ukraine. Lee, who spent over 3 years in North Korea's military, explained that these soldiers have never experienced real combat. They have no real combat experience, he said, emphasizing that they were completely unprepared for the harsh realities of war in Kursk. The soldiers' lack of training is a key issue. According to Lee, North Korean soldiers are ill-equipped to handle the advanced technology provided by Russia, such as night vision and thermal imaging devices. They don't train with that kind of equipment, he said. Many of these soldiers are struggling with basic tools such as landmines, further highlighting their lack of readiness. If 12,000 North Korean soldiers are sent to Russia, as believed, that would mean nearly 10,800 soldiers could either never return or be injured. Lee himself believes this estimate is realistic, given the soldiers' minimal training and the foreign, hostile environment they now find themselves in. After all, most have never set foot outside North Korea, let alone face the advanced weaponry of Ukraine's forces such as missiles and drones. The situation is all the more alarming when considering the soldiers' lack of knowledge about modern warfare. The last time North Korea sent troops abroad was during the Vietnam War, more than 50 years ago. This makes the current deployment even more disastrous for these soldiers, who are completely unprepared for the brutal fighting in Ukraine. A disturbing twist in the story comes from reports that some North Korean soldiers, who have never had uncensored access to the internet, are now finding ways to access information about their chances of survival. What if they discover that military experts believe only 1 in 10 of them has a chance of making it out of the war unscathed? How would this affect their morale? According to Lee, this fear is real. The soldiers are also struggling with language barriers, making coordination with Russian troops nearly impossible. Ukrainian forces have already demonstrated their capability to strike at North Korean soldiers with deadly precision, underscoring just how vulnerable they are. In addition to facing the brutal reality of combat, these soldiers were promised financial compensation for their service. Russia reportedly offers each North Korean soldier around $2,000 a month, an enormous sum compared to the $50 per month they would earn in North Korea. However, he revealed a bitter truth. Most of that money will go to the state, not to the soldiers themselves. They will not be compensated, he said. Their parents and families will not be compensated either. So these soldiers risk their lives with no real prospect of improving their futures. For the surviving soldiers, returning home means returning to the same bad life they left behind, while Kim Jong Un grows richer off the financial arrangements with Russia. This situation is eroding the morale of the North Korean army, as soldiers realize they are being exploited for a war they didn't choose and cannot win. On top of this, Ukraine has launched a propaganda campaign targeting the North Korean soldiers, urging them to desert before it's too late. Lee believes many of them will choose to flee rather than face the wrath of Ukraine's forces. Desertions have already been reported, particularly after Putin's counteroffensive at Kursk. Do you believe these defections could lead to bigger cracks in Kim Jong Un's control over his military? Let us know your predictions in the comments. For those who remain, the grip of the regime doesn't loosen, even thousands of miles from home. But what happens when that control starts to slip? Number 4. North Korea's control over its soldiers. North Korea's strict control over its military is well known, but recent reports shed light on just how deeply the regime influences its soldiers. These men endure discipline and constant surveillance and propagate ideas to maintain unwavering loyalty to Kim Jong Un. Every aspect of their lives is monitored, with even the slightest sign of disobedience leading to severe discipline. According to NK News and the Korea Herald, North Korean soldiers are not only taught to revere their leader above all else, but they are also subjected to intense emotional and psychological manipulation. Even when sent abroad, such as to Russia or Ukraine, they are expected to remain loyal, regardless of the bad working conditions they endure. However, reports suggest that some soldiers are beginning to question their circumstances, leading to rare cases of defection despite the immense risks involved. One interesting sign of growing unrest among these soldiers is their reaction to newfound freedoms in Russia. For many, this is the first time they've had access to an internet connection less restricted than the one in North Korea. Reuters and other outlets have reported that soldiers, some of whom had never before seen the unfiltered internet, were indulging in underground entertainment. A video even surfaced showing a North Korean soldier watching a banned video on his phone before quickly trying to hide it when someone entered the room. This may seem trivial or even humorous at first glance, but it reveals something far deeper. These soldiers have lived in a bubble, shielded from the outside world. They've never known what it's like to be in a real war, let alone face an enemy determined to kill them. This lack of exposure to the outside world is a stark contrast to the brutal reality they now find themselves in. When these soldiers arrived in Ukraine, the severity of their situation became painfully clear. On November 8, Business Insider reported a devastating first clash between Ukrainian and North Korean forces at Kursk. Ukrainian official Andriy Kovalenko described the encounter as a small skirmish, but one that ended badly for the North Korean soldiers. they were ill-prepared for the firepower they faced. Ukrainian forces launched artillery on positions where both Russian and North Korean troops were stationed, with devastating results. What's particularly revealing about Kovalenko's account is how unprepared these soldiers were. The North Korean soldiers were close to the front lines for training, possibly for the first time in their lives. But they were unaware that they were training in a war zone, and when the Ukrainian artillery shells began to fall, their training proved inadequate to protect them. He noted that the artillery strikes on these positions were not isolated, but part of daily shelling. The message was clear. Even after weeks of training, the North Korean soldiers had no chance against the coordinated firepower of Ukraine's military. These soldiers are caught in a web, where every decision comes with life-altering consequences. So, what's the true cost of their service? Number 3. The reality of North Korean soldiers' fate. Experts like Joseph S. Bermudez Jr. from the Center for Strategic and International Studies point out that North Korean soldiers, even when sent abroad, are closely monitored by officials from the Workers' Party of Korea. They track everything from minor infractions to signs of defection, always reporting back to Pyongyang. Bruce W. Bennett, an expert from RAND, explains that North Korea employs generational discipline, meaning that if a soldier defects, their entire family can be disciplined. For soldiers now in Russia and Ukraine, this policy adds to their fear. They know their families back home are vulnerable to severe retaliation if they desert. Faced with this, many soldiers must choose between sacrifice in a foreign land or risking their families' lives by attempting to flee. The situation is dire, as these soldiers lack the training and equipment to survive the intense combat they're thrown into. Reports indicate that North Korean soldiers have already suffered devastating losses in their first clashes with Ukrainian forces. Despite a few weeks of training in Russia, they are poorly prepared for combat. The harsh reality of desertion means abandoning their families, who are likely being held hostage by the regime. This fear of retaliation makes desertion a terrifying choice. Adding to this anguish is the secrecy surrounding their deployment. VOA reports that many North Koreans, including the families of these soldiers, may not even know where their loved ones are. Kim Jong Un, a defector who served in the North Korean army, says that mothers in North Korea who have sent their children to Russia must endure in silence, unable to express their grief or even mourn properly. The regime's control over emotions is so stringent that even the most basic expression of sorrow is forbidden. NK News and Reuters confirm that any wages earned by these soldiers are controlled by the state, with little, if any, reaching the soldiers themselves. Instead, the money is sent directly to Pyongyang, leaving them with nothing but the hope of survival. The situation for the 11,000 to 12,000 North Korean soldiers in Ukraine is bad. They face the prospect of sacrifice at Kursk, or they must choose to desert, risking the safety of their families. With little training, no experience in war, and the constant fear of discipline, it's no wonder that many of these soldiers want nothing more than to flee. This reveals the true cost of Kim Jong Un's totalitarian control. The world is watching this unexpected alliance unfold. But how are global powers responding, and what could it mean for the future of this war? Number 2. The Russian and international reaction. As these North Korean soldiers face unimaginable choices between duty and desertion, their fate is intricately tied to the shifting global alliances, raising the question, how will this unexpected collaboration between Russia and North Korea affect the balance of power on the world stage? The unexpected use of North Korean soldiers in Ukraine has raised many questions about the shifting alliances and measures taken by global powers. Russia, which has suffered heavy casualties and is increasingly isolated due to its actions in Ukraine, sought to fill gaps in its forces by turning to North Korea. The soldiers sent are not typically deployed in combat roles but are instead used for logistical and construction tasks. It's a cost-effective way for Russia to maintain its war effort while avoiding the need to send more of its troops into battle. But what does this arrangement mean for the international community? According to Reuters and NK News, this partnership signals just how under heavy pressure Russia has become in its fight in Ukraine. For North Korea, this collaboration offers an opportunity to gain crucial military and economic support from Russia, support that it needs to maintain its regime and strengthen its military capabilities. However, this risky move also carries significant diplomatic consequences. North Korea's decision to cooperate with Russia could strain its already fragile relationship with China, its most important ally. The United States, along with its allies, quickly condemned the partnership, warning that it violated existing UN sanctions on North Korea and could lead to further diplomatic fallout. While the Korea Herald reported that China remained cautious, the situation created a delicate balance for Beijing, which is also wary of escalating tensions in the region. South Korea and Japan have voiced their concerns, fearing that this partnership could embolden North Korea to take more aggressive actions, particularly in its backyard. The situation is a stark reminder of how the war in Ukraine is not only reshaping alliances but also forcing countries to make unexpected and difficult choices. The collaboration between Russia and North Korea is a prime example of how military necessity and geopolitical isolation can lead to unconventional partnerships. It raises an important question: what other surprising alliances might emerge as global power dynamics continue to shift under the pressure of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. This partnership, despite its risks and repercussions, underscores the changing landscape of international relations, where necessity often overrides long-standing diplomatic considerations. Will this unorthodox alliance between Russia and North Korea set a new precedent, or will it be an anomaly in the grand scheme of global diplomacy? Only time will tell. Want to stay updated on the latest twists in the Russia-Ukraine war and how North Korea fits into the picture? Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you're always in the know. With stakes this high, how long can this fragile alliance last before cracks begin to show? The implications could ripple far beyond Ukraine. Number 1. Risks of the Russia-North Korea alliance. North Korea's reported troop deployment to Russia could influence the Ukraine conflict and have broader global implications. NATO may respond by enhancing support for Ukraine, while nearby members may consider boosting defenses. The presence of North Korean forces might shift the war's dynamics. The Russia-North Korea alliance appears opportunistic. Russia may gain manpower, and North Korea could benefit from resources, but questions remain about the alliance's long-term stability. Globally, China, a key ally of North Korea, has responded cautiously, possibly signaling unease. Strained China-North Korea relations might increase Pyongyang's isolation and challenge its ties with Moscow. This situation could also affect the Korean peninsula. South Korea may evaluate strengthening defenses, collaborating on U.S. military drills, and exploring deterrence measures, which might deepen ties with NATO and increase diplomatic pressure on North Korea. Additionally, the alliance could prompt shifts in U.S. policy in East Asia. A perceived adjustment in U.S. commitments might encourage South Korea and Japan to pursue independent strategies, potentially influencing the region's balance of power. While this partnership presents strategic challenges, its longevity and impact remain uncertain. What do you think about these developments? Share your thoughts below. These events paint a sobering picture of the complex alliances shaping our world today. But one question remains: how will this play out in the grand scheme of global power? If you found today's video interesting, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support is very important to us. Be sure to check out the next video appearing on your screen. You're sure to love the content we bring. Please leave a comment about which country you'd like us to explore next. Thank you for watching, and see you in the latest video. When you think of frozen, faraway lands, places like Antarctica or Alaska might come to mind. But deep in the Arctic Ocean lies a place even more bizarre: Svalbard. With unique laws banning births and burials and months of darkness, it offers a challenging yet fascinating reality. Hidden beneath its frozen permafrost is the Doomsday Vault, a fortress protecting the future of life. What secrets lie within, and why do people endure such harsh conditions? Let's explore the mysteries of Svalbard. Geography: the Arctic's remote jewel. Svalbard, a remote Arctic archipelago between Norway and the North Pole, feels like another world. Spanning over 23,000 square miles, its icy terrain features towering glaciers, frozen fjords, and snow-capped peaks. Winter temperatures often drop below -20 degrees Celsius, shaping a harsh yet stunning white wilderness. The isolation adds to Svalbard's allure. There are no roads to mainland Norway or between its settlements, making air or sea the only access points. Longyearbyen, the main settlement on Spitsbergen, is reachable via flights from Oslo and Tromsø. At the same time, summer expedition cruises offer adventurous routes through iceberg-laden waters with chances to spot polar bears. Once there, travel between settlements requires snowmobiles, boats, or small planes, emphasizing Svalbard's rugged remoteness. Its breathtaking geography reflects the raw power of nature and humanity's resilience, drawing adventurers and scientists alike to this Arctic wonderland. If you had the chance, would you prefer exploring Svalbard during the icy winter or the adventurous summer expedition cruises? Why? Comment and chat with me. Yet Svalbard's otherworldly geography is only the beginning of its extremes. What happens when months of total darkness take over the land? Phenomena of extremes: polar night and midnight sun. The Svalbard archipelago experiences extreme climates. In winter, temperatures drop below -20 degrees Celsius, but well-insulated houses with heating, running water, and electricity provide comfort. During summer, temperatures rise to around 5 degrees Celsius, and the frozen landscape bursts to life, with a noticeable shift in people's energy. Two unique phenomena define life here: the polar night and the midnight sun. The polar night lasts from November to February, bringing darkness except for starlight and occasional northern lights. This prolonged absence of sunlight poses challenges to mental and physical well-being, requiring resilience and adaptability. In contrast, the midnight sun dominates from May to August, with the sun never setting. Endless daylight can disrupt sleep patterns but also fosters a celebratory atmosphere. Streets stay lively at all hours as people take full advantage of the non-stop sunlight for outdoor activities. Life here is shaped by months of light and darkness. But what if you couldn't be born or buried in the place you call home? The reason behind this strange reality might surprise you. Births and deaths are not permitted here. Svalbard stands out for its Arctic extremes and a unique practice: births and burials do not occur on the archipelago. This approach addresses the region's challenging environment and limited medical infrastructure. The small medical clinic in Longyearbyen is equipped to manage minor injuries and illnesses, but cannot accommodate childbirth or advanced end-of-life care. Expectant mothers typically travel to the Norwegian mainland, over 500 miles away, several weeks before their due date to give birth. Similarly, residents requiring critical medical care are transported to the mainland for treatment. The permafrost in Svalbard, which remains frozen year-round, makes traditional burials impractical. Bodies buried in permafrost do not decompose and can potentially preserve pathogens, such as traces of the Spanish flu virus found in Arctic graves. To address these concerns, burials are not conducted on the island. For its 2,500 residents, these practices serve as reminders of Svalbard's remote and harsh environment. Milestones like births and funerals are often observed remotely, fostering a sense of community despite the challenges. These rules exemplify the resilience and adaptability required to thrive in the Arctic's extremes. This rule may seem unusual, but it's not the only extraordinary thing hidden beneath Svalbard's icy surface. Could it also be home to a lifeline for humanity's survival? Before exploring, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just hit the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel so much, and if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Deal? The Doomsday Vault, humanity's lifeline. Tucked into Svalbard's icy permafrost, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault safeguards the future of life on Earth. Known as the Global Backup Vault, it preserves over 1 million seed samples from nearly every country, including staples like wheat, rice, and maize, as well as rare crops. Its mission is to ensure biodiversity and provide a seed reserve to rebuild food systems during crises like climate change, conflicts, or natural disasters. Built 130 meters above sea level inside a mountain, the vault is designed to withstand rising sea levels, earthquakes, and extreme climate changes. Natural permafrost keeps seeds frozen even without power, while the interior, maintained at -18 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, ensures long-term preservation. Thick concrete walls and a reinforced steel entrance add to its resilience. Run by the Norwegian government, the Nordic Genetic Resource Center, and the Crop Trust, the vault receives seeds from over 1,700 gene banks. As of the year 2024, it remains vital for combating food insecurity and protecting global biodiversity. Each seed stored represents not just a crop, but a piece of culture and a safeguard for humanity's future. But while Svalbard safeguards seeds for humanity, its most famous residents, the polar bears, pose a completely different challenge. How do humans and these Arctic giants coexist in such a fragile environment? The polar bear paradox. Svalbard's polar bears, often referred to as the kings of the Arctic, with an estimated population of around 3,000 bears. These magnificent animals are primarily found near sea ice, where they hunt seals, their main source of food. Adult males can weigh up to 800 kilograms, while even cubs weighing less than 100 kilograms possess significant strength. Although encounters with polar bears are infrequent, they can be dangerous. Polar bears are highly territorial and may react aggressively if startled or feeling threatened. To mitigate risks, carrying a firearm for protection is mandatory when venturing outside settlements. However, hunting polar bears is strictly illegal. The use of lethal force is permitted solely in immediate self-defense and is subject to thorough investigation to ensure compliance with Svalbard's strict wildlife protection laws. These laws, established under an international Arctic Wildlife Agreement in the year 1973, safeguard polar bears and their environment. Visitors are required to complete a gun handling course, which also includes training in non-lethal deterrence techniques, such as firing warning shots. Firearms are considered a last resort measure, and harming a polar bear without a valid reason can result in severe penalties, including fines and imprisonment. Svalbard emphasizes respect and coexistence with its wildlife, encouraging careful planning and the use of experienced guides to minimize potential risks. Polar bears are both a reminder of the Arctic's raw beauty and a challenge to human adaptation in this extreme environment. Svalbard exemplifies the delicate balance between respecting wildlife and ensuring human safety. But how did Svalbard, a land of isolation and survival, evolve into the place we know today? The story stretches back centuries, revealing its historical roots and fascinating governance. History and management. To understand Svalbard's governance today, we need to explore its history. The archipelago was first mentioned in Icelandic sagas from the 10th and 11th centuries, but was formally documented in 1596 by Dutch explorer Willem Barents, who named the largest island Spitsbergen for its sharp peaks. In the centuries that followed, countries like the Netherlands and England established temporary bases for whaling and exploration, leading to resource competition and territorial disputes. These conflicts left Svalbard as unclaimed territory until the early 20th century, when coal mining and settlements like Longyearbyen and Barentsburg highlighted the need for governance. In 1920, the Svalbard Treaty granted Norway sovereignty over the islands with conditions economic resources must remain accessible to all signatory nations and military use is banned. Norway officially assumed administration in 1925, appointing a governor as the local authority. Today, Svalbard is peaceful, with no military presence and a police force of only 12 officers. Unique laws and social norms. Life in Svalbard revolves around unique laws and customs tailored to survival in the harsh Arctic. Disturbing a polar bear is a serious violation, with fines of up to $70 for actions that disrupt their habitat. This protects both humans and the estimated 3,000 polar bears living on the archipelago. Damaging pack ice, essential for polar bears and other Arctic wildlife, is also prohibited. Tourists and residents must exercise caution near these icy areas to help maintain the fragile ecosystem. An unusual but practical tradition is keeping doors unlocked. This allows anyone facing emergencies such as sudden storms or polar bear encounters to quickly access shelter. In Longyearbyen, it's common for houses and cars to remain open, reflecting the community's trust and solidarity. Crime in Svalbard is rare due to its isolation and closely connected community. A year 2018 bank robbery, in which an individual stole $1,000, ended quickly because Longyearbyen's single road and closely monitored airport left little room for escape. The individual was apprehended and sentenced to a year in prison, turning the incident into a local legend. Svalbard's laws and traditions highlight the challenges of Arctic life and the importance of community. From protecting wildlife to ensuring safety, these practices embody a culture of adaptation and respect for nature. For residents, they're not just rules but essential ways of life in one of the world's most unforgiving environments. But beyond the laws and traditions, what is daily life like for the resilient few who call Longyearbyen home? Life in Longyearbyen, a test of endurance. Longyearbyen, on Spitsbergen in Svalbard, is the world's northernmost settlement with a notable population of about 2,500 people as of the year 2024. It hosts miners, scientists, students, and adventurers, thriving as a hub of resilience in the Arctic. The town is home to over 50 nationalities, forming a multicultural community united by the challenge of Arctic life. Residents work in scientific research, coal mining, and tourism, or pursue a unique lifestyle. Scientists study melting glaciers and Arctic wildlife, while the University Center in Svalbard attracts students and researchers. Though coal mining has declined, its legacy remains. Adventurers are drawn to Longyearbyen's stark beauty and remote allure. Living here requires resilience. Nearly all goods are imported, with supplies arriving only during ice-free summer months. Social services are limited, and harsh winters bring temperatures below -20°C with frequent snowstorms. Insulated homes and layered clothing are vital. Despite these challenges, residents cherish the untouched wilderness, Arctic wildlife, and deep camaraderie formed through shared adversity. Community events, winter festivals, and midnight summer hikes create unforgettable experiences in this extraordinary environment. Yet even here, remnants of the past linger. What secrets do the abandoned towns and mines of Svalbard hold? Mysteries of Svalbard Pyramiden Towns. Svalbard's icy wilderness showcases stunning Arctic landscapes and towns and abandoned coal mining settlements that highlight its industrial past. In the early 20th century, coal mining attracted settlers from across the globe to this remote, unforgiving region. Miners endured extreme cold and isolation to extract coal for mainland industries. By the late 20th century, declining demand, growing environmental concerns, and the rise of renewable energy led Svalbard to shift its focus towards scientific research and tourism, leaving behind silent towns as remnants of this era. One notable example is Pyramiden, a mining town abandoned in the year 1998. Originally founded by Sweden in 1910 and later expanded under the new administration in the year 1927, it was developed into a model community with amenities such as a school, swimming pool, and cultural center. When mining operations ceased, the town was left largely undisturbed, with belongings still in place. Today, it stands as a tourist destination, preserving a fascinating chapter of history. Other towns, like Grumant, share similar stories. Abandoned in the 1960s, its weathered buildings perched on steep mountainsides reflect the resilience of Arctic settlers. These towns are more than ruins, they are time capsules of human ambition and survival, offering visitors an unparalleled glimpse into Svalbard's challenging history. The Arctic secrets don't end here. Like and subscribe to join us as we explore more of the planet's most unusual and remote locations. Don't forget to turn on notifications for updates. But as the era of mining fades, what drives Svalbard's economy today, and how does it adapt to the modern world? Economic transition from mining to research and tourism. Svalbard's economy has transitioned from coal mining to focusing on science and tourism. Longyearbyen, the administrative center, is now a hub for Arctic expeditions and research, attracting scientists and adventurers to its pristine wilderness and dynamic environment. The University Center in Svalbard, established in the year 1993, leads Arctic studies, while facilities like the Svalbard Integrated Arctic Earth Observing System contribute valuable climate data. Tourism plays a vital role in the economy, with over 100,000 visitors annually exploring glaciers, unique wildlife, the northern lights, and the midnight sun. Activities like snowmobiling, dog sledding, and boat tours offer safe, guided ways to experience the Arctic's beauty. Strict regulations ensure that tourism remains sustainable and protects Svalbard's delicate ecosystem. Coal mining, once central to Svalbard's economy, has gradually declined due to reduced demand and a growing focus on environmental priorities. Abandoned mining towns like Pyramiden have been repurposed as tourist attractions, showcasing the region's industrial history while promoting sustainability through ecotourism. Svalbard's transformation reflects a careful balance between preserving natural beauty and addressing global priorities. As a center for climate research and Arctic exploration, it continues to play a vital role in understanding and protecting the planet for future generations. And for those brave enough to endure Svalbard's polar night, the Arctic offers one of nature's most breathtaking spectacles. What makes the aurora borealis here so magical? Aurora borealis. Svalbard, during the polar night, offers one of the best chances to see the aurora borealis. Its Arctic location and prolonged winter darkness create perfect conditions to witness this breathtaking natural phenomenon. The lights, caused by charged solar particles colliding with Earth's atmospheric gases, appear in vivid shades of green, pink, purple, and red. Svalbard's position within the auroral oval ensures frequent activity, with 24-hour winter darkness from November to February providing extended viewing opportunities. The aurora in Svalbard is more than a spectacle, it's an immersive experience. Green is the most common color, created by oxygen at altitudes of about 60 miles, while red, pink, and purple hues appear at higher levels. Some even report faint sounds accompanying the lights, though these remain debated. The lights, combined with Svalbard's snow-covered mountains, frozen fjords, and the possibility of spotting polar bears, create a scene of mystical Arctic beauty. Popular viewing spots included Vendelen Valley and Eyjafjord Radio, away from artificial light. Guided tours, often paired with snowmobiling or dog sledding, enhance the experience. If you had the chance to visit Svalbard, what would you explore first? The eerie ghost towns, the dazzling northern lights, or the mysterious Doomsday Vault? Share your pick in the comments. But life in Svalbard is more than just stunning lights. It's a test of human adaptation. What does it truly take to live in such isolation? Community life isolation meets adaptation. Life in Svalbard is challenging, with harsh winters, isolation, and a demanding environment. Despite this, the 2,500 residents of Longyearbyen from over 50 nationalities have built a strong, resilient community. Mutual support is essential, with neighbors helping each other during storms, repairing snowmobiles, or responding to emergencies such as polar bear sightings or medical situations. The town's cultural diversity is celebrated through events like the Polar Jazz Festival and Sun Festival Week, which unite the community during the long winters. Living in such a pristine environment requires careful efforts to protect the natural ecosystem. For example, cats are not permitted to safeguard Arctic birds like the endangered ivory gull, and residents often keep dogs for companionship, sledding, and safety against polar bears. To promote well-being, alcohol consumption is managed through a personal quota system, allowing 24 cans of beer and 2 bottles of liquor per person each month. These measures address the unique challenges of Arctic life, prioritizing mental health and safety. Svalbard's community is built on trust, cooperation, and shared experiences. The stunning Arctic landscape and the bonds within this remote society show that even in extreme conditions, people can create a sense of belonging and purpose. But how do they navigate an environment where traditional transportation is impossible, and survival depends on creative solutions. Transportation: no roads between settlements. Svalbard stands out for its lack of roads connecting settlements. With vast distances and harsh icy terrain, building traditional infrastructure is not feasible. Instead, residents and visitors rely on snowmobiles, boats, planes, and even dog sleds to explore the remote Arctic archipelago. In winter, snowmobiles are a primary means of travel, with over 4,000 registered, outnumbering the human population. They provide access to remote areas, scientific stations, and essential locations. Snowmobile tours also offer exciting adventures across glaciers and frozen fjords. Longyearbyen, Svalbard's main town, has the primary airport, and small planes and helicopters connect settlements for research and medical emergencies. In summer, boats and ferries become key for transportation, linking towns like Barentsburg and Pyramiden, while offering breathtaking views of glaciers and Arctic wildlife. Dog sledding adds a historic and eco-friendly touch to travel in Svalbard. Once crucial for survival, sled dogs now provide tourists with an authentic Arctic experience, showcasing the region's rich heritage and fostering a connection to nature. Svalbard's lack of roads highlights its unique, untamed beauty. Every journey, whether by snowmobile, boat, or sled, demonstrates human creativity and the spirit of adventure in the Arctic. And for those seeking adventure in this remote land, there's one surprising fact that makes Svalbard accessible to people from almost any country. No visa is required. Svalbard, a Norwegian archipelago, provides a unique visa-free opportunity for people from nearly any country to live and work, as outlined by the Svalbard Treaty of the year 1920, which guarantees open access to signatory nations. However, travelers passing through mainland Norway must still meet Norway's visa requirements. Living in Svalbard requires self-sufficiency since there are no social welfare programs or free healthcare. Residents are responsible for their housing, medical needs, and employment, with serious emergencies requiring medical evacuations. The region's harsh winters, limited daylight, and high cost of living make it suitable only for those prepared to face significant challenges. Additionally, its visa-free status does not contribute toward Norwegian residency or citizenship. Despite these difficulties, Svalbard is home to a culturally diverse community in Longyearbyen. English is widely spoken, and global traditions blend with local events like the Sun Festival Week. Svalbard's open-door policy underscores its historical and geopolitical importance, offering freedom from bureaucracy while demanding resilience to thrive in its extreme environment. Yet beneath its open-door policy lies a pressing issue: climate change. How is Svalbard both a witness to and a warning about our planet's future? Svalbard's role in climate change. Since the year 1970s, its average temperature has risen by 4 degrees Celsius, 7 times the global average, and projections suggest it could increase further by the century's end if greenhouse gas emissions continue. Winters are becoming milder, with rain replacing snow, and glaciers, which cover over 60% of the area, are retreating rapidly, with some losing significant thickness. This contributes to rising sea levels, posing challenges for coastal regions worldwide. These changes also disrupt ecosystems, with polar bears losing vital hunting grounds and southern species migrating north, altering the local balance. Melting ice and thawing permafrost release methane, a greenhouse gas that may further influence warming trends. Scientists often describe Svalbard as a canary in the coal mine, underlining the importance of understanding these changes. Home to the Svalbard Integrated Arctic Earth Observing System, the archipelago attracts researchers globally, providing valuable data for climate models and policymaking. While Svalbard's changing environment underscores the need for action, its role as a research hub offers insights and hope for addressing climate challenges and fostering a sustainable future. This unique region serves as both a reminder of environmental fragility and a testament to human resilience in understanding and preserving our planet. But what does daily life in this fragile environment look like? How do people adapt to the Arctic's unique challenges? A day in the life on Svalbard. Living in Svalbard is a unique and challenging experience shaped by its Arctic climate and extreme light cycles. Daily life requires preparation, especially in winter, with temperatures dropping to as low as -20 degrees Celsius. Insulated clothing and gear are essential, along with precautions for wildlife encounters, particularly polar bears, which are occasionally seen near settlements. Work in Svalbard ranges from scientific research to tourism and community services. Researchers study glaciers, wildlife, and climate change, often working in remote, cold environments. Those in tourism guide snowmobile tours, host visitors, and lead dog sledding excursions, especially during the busy summer season. Even basic tasks, like grocery shopping, rely on careful planning due to weather-dependent shipments from the mainland. Despite isolation and challenging conditions, Svalbard offers profound natural beauty and a strong sense of community. During the polar night, residents gather to enjoy the northern lights, while summer brings midnight hikes and outdoor barbecues. Social events and shared experiences foster close bonds in this small, resilient population. Life in Svalbard is a balance of survival and wonder, showcasing the human spirit's ability to thrive in one of Earth's most unique environments. If you found today's video interesting, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support is very important to us. Be sure to check out the next video appearing on your screen. You're sure to love the content we bring. Please leave a comment about which country you'd like us to explore next. Thank you for watching, and see you in the latest video. What's the connection between some of Asia's poorest countries and some of the world's most beautiful, resilient women? How can nations with such staggering challenges, where GDP is per capita barely scrape past $500, still dazzle with rich cultural heritage, breathtaking landscapes, and people who defy adversity with grace? Curious about the stories of women who embody elegance and strength amidst harsh realities? Stick around, because this is a journey you don't want to miss. Tajikistan economy remains one of the least developed in the region, with poverty levels significantly higher than many of its neighbors. For context, in 2023, Tajikistan's GDP per capita was just over $1,300, a stark contrast to the regional average of more than $5,000 in countries like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Despite challenges, Tajikistan has seen some economic growth, mainly driven by remittances from Tajik men working abroad, mostly in Russia, and a growing agricultural sector, particularly cotton. However, this growth has been inconsistent. Roughly 20 to 30% of Tajikistan's GDP comes from agriculture, with cotton, fruits, and vegetables being the primary crops. However, agriculture faces a number of hurdles. The sector is underdeveloped, vulnerable to the effects of climate change, and plagued by low productivity. For the majority of rural Tajiks, subsistence farming remains a way of life. According to the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, about 30% of Tajikistan's population lives below the poverty line. Yet, it's not all doom and gloom. The people of Tajikistan, especially the women, are an embodiment of resilience. What sets Tajik women apart is their beauty and strength. Known for their striking dark hair, olive skin, and unique Central Asian charm, they often wear traditional costumes like the colorful kura. These women not only embody elegance but also the inner strength required to thrive in challenging circumstances. Their resilience is a direct reflection of their surroundings. Tajikistan's rugged landscape, home to the Pamir Mountains, often referred to as the roof of the world, is both breathtaking and a testament to the endurance of its people. Tajikistan's strategic location on the ancient Silk Road is another striking feature. Over 90% of the country is mountainous, and the Pamirs were once a vital link between the East and the West. These majestic mountains offer not only dramatic scenery but also a window into Tajikistan's role in global history. For those interested in visiting Tajikistan, the country offers a straightforward e-visa process for stays of up to 45 days, usually approved within a few days. Longer stays are also possible with a business visa, making Tajikistan an accessible, though less traveled, destination for adventurous spirits. While Tajikistan's rugged beauty and its resilient women captivate the imagination, just a few hundred miles away, Bangladesh offers an equally fascinating blend of stunning landscapes and a rapidly evolving culture, driven by its remarkable women and the challenges they overcome. As of 2023, around 20% of Bangladesh's population still lives below the poverty line, though this marks a significant improvement from the 40% in the early 2000s. The country's GDP per capita is roughly $2,500, which places it among the lower-income nations in Asia. While it still lags behind larger economies like India or Vietnam, Bangladesh's income is higher than in countries such as Nepal and Afghanistan. Despite this progress, poverty remains a persistent issue, and income inequality continues to be a challenge. Much of the country's wealth is concentrated in the hands of a small elite, and rural areas often experience slower development compared to more urbanized regions. One fascinating aspect of Bangladesh's demographic makeup is its gender ratio. For every 100 women, there are approximately 95 men. In fact, Bangladeshi women are celebrated not only for their remarkable strength but also for their beauty. Known for their graceful presence, they often have striking features like high noses and sparkling eyes. Traditional clothing such as the sari and salwar kameez adds to their elegance, reflecting the timeless charm and rich cultural heritage of the nation. Though Bangladesh faces challenges like climate change, it continues to show impressive resilience. The country has launched large-scale initiatives like tree planting and sustainable agriculture to protect its environment. These efforts, along with innovative solutions in digital finance through services like bKash, demonstrate Bangladesh's adaptability and determination to overcome adversity. What about its economy? Bangladesh is now the second largest exporter of ready-made garments in the world, following China. The success of initiatives like Grameen Bank and microfinance, pioneered by Muhammad Yunus, has been pivotal in lifting millions out of poverty. With a growing fashion industry, tourism sector, and rich historical sites like Mahastangir and Paharpur, Bangladesh is a nation with significant untapped potential. In terms of poverty reduction, Bangladesh has made remarkable strides. The number of people living in poverty has dropped from 40% in the year 2000 to 20% in 2023. It's clear that the country is progressing, despite the challenges it still faces. Before we move to the next country, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel. And if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. Deal? With a population of roughly 16 million people, Cambodia remains one of the less economically developed nations in Asia. According to the latest World Bank data, the country's gross domestic product per capita was approximately $1,750 in 2022. This figure places it well below the average for Southeast Asia. Moreover, the Asian Development Bank reports that nearly 18% of Cambodians lived below the national poverty line as of 2020. Extreme poverty, where individuals live on less than $1.90 a day, remains a significant challenge for many rural communities. Despite economic hardships, the resilience and grace of Cambodian women shine through. Women here are celebrated for their natural beauty, strength, and cultural pride. In both urban centers like Phnom Penh and rural villages, they carry forward traditions with elegance. The traditional attire called the sampat is a vivid reminder of Cambodia's rich heritage and the pride its people take in their history. Cambodia's tourism sector thrives on its unparalleled attractions. Angkor Wat, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, draws millions of visitors each year. This ancient temple complex, with its intricate carvings and awe-inspiring architecture, serves as a gateway to the country's rich history. Yet, Cambodia's dependence on tourism has its risks. Global events like the COVID-19 pandemic have shown how vulnerable this sector can be. The country makes it easy for travelers with its convenient visa options. Visitors can apply for a visa on arrival at major entry points, valid for a 30-day stay, with the option to extend for another 30 days. Alternatively, you can apply for an electronic visa online, processed in about 3 business days, also granting a single entry stay of 30 days. Beyond its historical landmarks, Cambodia offers stunning natural beauty. Sihanoukville is home to pristine beaches and crystal-clear waters, perfect for a seaside escape. For even more tranquility, head to the islands of Koh Rong and Koh Rong Samlam. These islands boast untouched white sand beaches and vibrant marine ecosystems, ideal for snorkeling or simply relaxing under the sun. So what draws people to Cambodia? Is it the stunning landscapes, the captivating culture, or the resilient beauty of its women? Let us know in the comments below. Myanmar, often overlooked in mainstream media, ranks as one of the poorest countries in Asia, with a per capita gross national income of just over $1,260. Despite its rich natural resources, the country's economy remains heavily reliant on agriculture, which accounts for about 25% of its GDP and employs more than half of the workforce. Agriculture, alongside fishing, forms the backbone of Myanmar's economy. Yet this dependence on traditional industries has contributed to the country's ongoing economic struggles. While Myanmar has seen some economic growth and poverty reduction since 2005, the country continues to face significant challenges. Underemployment, rising poverty, and the effects of climate change have slowed progress in recent years. But despite these hurdles, the warmth and hospitality of the Myanmar people, especially its women, continue to shine through. Myanmar women are often celebrated for their beauty, charming and graceful, and known for their petite figures, glossy black hair, and gentle features. Culturally, Myanmar holds deep roots. The longji, a traditional garment worn by both men and women, is a reflection of the country's rich heritage. The country is also home to the world's largest reclining Buddha, the Choktaji Buddha in Yangon, which stretches an impressive 66 meters in length. Myanmar is incredibly ethnically diverse, with over 135 recognized ethnic groups, each bringing their own unique languages, customs, and traditions to the fabric of the nation. The country's tea culture is another fascinating aspect of its identity. Lapet, a dish made from fermented tea leaves, is a popular delicacy, often served as a salad mixed with nuts and peas. It's not just a meal but a window into the deep cultural significance of tea in daily life. For those seeking tranquility, Myanmar's beaches remain some of Southeast Asia's most untouched and serene. Ngapali Beach, with its crystal-clear waters and golden sands, offers a peaceful escape, far from the crowds of other tourist hotspots. But it's not just the beaches that draw adventurers to Myanmar. Its picturesque trekking routes in Shan and Chin states, with breathtaking views of mountains and villages, provide a unique experience for those eager to explore places few have seen. Afghanistan, located at the crossroads of Central and South Asia, is a country rich in history, culture, and natural beauty. About the size of Texas, Afghanistan spans 652,000 square kilometers and is home to around 40 million people. Yet, despite its strategic location and stunning landscapes, Afghanistan remains one of the poorest countries in Asia, with a per capita income of just $500 as of the year 2024. What's behind this paradox? Decades of conflict, political instability, and widespread corruption have stalled the country's economic development. Afghanistan is rich in natural resources like lithium, copper, and iron ore, which could transform the economy if properly exploited. Additionally, Afghanistan has strong agricultural potential, with fruits, nuts, and livestock being key sectors. However, due to ongoing security challenges and a lack of infrastructure, these resources remain largely untapped. Despite the country's economic struggles, Afghan women are often admired for their unique beauty, often displayed through colorful traditional clothing. One example is the Kuchi dress, a beautifully embroidered garment that reflects Afghanistan's rich cultural heritage. Afghan women's beauty, paired with their resilience, makes them stand out, even amid the country's difficult circumstances. If you're considering visiting Afghanistan, it's important to understand the country's visa policy. Afghanistan offers both short-term and long-term visas, with single-entry visas typically valid for 30 days. However, the country's security situation means that careful planning and attention to safety are crucial when traveling there. Another fascinating aspect of Afghanistan is its gemstone wealth. Afghanistan is particularly famous for lapis lazuli, a stunning blue stone that has been prized for thousands of years. The stone was historically mined in Badakhshan province and traded along the ancient Silk Road. In addition to lapis lazuli, Afghanistan is rich in other precious stones including emeralds, rubies, sapphires, and tourmaline. Despite their value, these resources have not been fully exploited due to ongoing conflict and instability. While Afghanistan's untapped wealth lies beneath its rugged terrain, Kyrgyzstan's treasures are woven into its breathtaking landscapes and deeply rooted traditions. What makes these two countries so strikingly different yet similarly captivating? Kyrgyzstan, nestled in the heart of Central Asia, is a country of striking contrasts. While it's one of Asia's poorest nations, with about one-third of its people living below the poverty line, its culture, history, and people tell a different story of resilience and beauty. Did you know that in the year 2022, more than 40% of Kyrgyz children were living in monetary poverty and nearly 6 in 10 face challenges in education and healthcare access? This paints a picture of the socio-economic hurdles faced by this mountainous nation. The economy here relies heavily on agriculture, yet outdated farming methods and limited training make it difficult for rural communities to thrive. Financial institutions in Kyrgyzstan are underdeveloped, particularly in rural areas, which hinders investment and perpetuates poverty cycles. Despite these struggles, Kyrgyzstan has made strides to reduce poverty since the early 2000s, although setbacks like the global pandemic remind us how fragile progress can be. Amidst the difficulties, Kyrgyzstan is celebrated for its remarkable women, known for their elegance and cultural pride. Kyrgyz women possess a captivating blend of Eastern and European features, shaped by centuries of cultural exchange along the Silk Road. Their high cheekbones, almond-shaped eyes, and flowing dark hair reflect their rich heritage. During cultural festivals and weddings, traditional attire like the vibrant ilich, a colorful headscarf, adds a touch of regal charm. Kyrgyzstan isn't just about breathtaking landscapes and compelling people. The country boasts unique cultural traditions that spark curiosity. For instance, the practice of bride kidnapping, though officially illegal, remains a debated part of Kyrgyz culture. For adventurers, Kyrgyzstan offers some of the world's most dramatic scenery. Over 90% of the country is covered by mountains, including the Tian Shan, or Heavenly Mountains. Peaks like Jendishchokusu rise to over 7,000 meters, calling out to climbers and hikers worldwide. Outdoor enthusiasts can enjoy trekking, skiing, or horseback riding, especially in places like Alabama Arca National Park. And let's not forget the nation's vibrant traditions, such as the World Nomad Games. This international event showcases nomadic sports, including kokboru, a type of polo using a goat carcass, and archery on horseback. What are your thoughts on how poverty shapes and transforms a nation's identity? Let's discuss this in the comments below. Nepal is a land of paradoxes, a nation of breathtaking Himalayan peaks and rich cultural history, yet also one grappling with persistent economic challenges. As of the most recent data, nearly 1 in 6 Nepalese people, about 5 million, live in multidimensional poverty. This means they face deprivation not just in income but in areas like education, health, and living standards. Between the years 2014 and 2019, Nepal made commendable progress, lifting over 3 million people out of such conditions. But the road to economic stability remains long and challenging. Nepal's economy faces another hurdle, a massive trade imbalance. In the fiscal year 2019 to 2020, Nepal imported goods worth approximately $6.9 billion, but managed to export goods valued at just over $500 million. This heavy dependence on imports, primarily from India, highlights the nation's vulnerability in trade. Agriculture is the backbone of Nepal, employing more than 6 out of 10 people. Yet, it contributes less than a third of the country's total economic output. With over 10% of the population still without access to electricity and 11% without safe drinking water, these infrastructural gaps make development an uphill battle. Now let's pivot to a different side of Nepal, its people, especially its women, who are often celebrated for their natural elegance. Nepalese women possess a blend of ethnic beauty, often noted for their expressive eyes and timeless grace. Beyond appearances, they play vital roles in society, from weaving intricate patterns on looms to actively participating in grassroots initiatives. And here's something truly unique. Nepal honors a living goddess, the Kumari, a young girl chosen from the newer community to embody divine purity. For visitors and expats, this warmth and hospitality are hard to ignore. Whether you're trekking the famous Annapurna circuit or sipping the fragrant tea from Elam, Nepal's culture feels as majestic as its peaks. The country is also a playground for adventure enthusiasts, offering activities like paragliding, whitewater rafting, and bungee jumping from some of the highest locations in the world. Laos, officially the Lao People's Democratic Republic, is often cited as one of the poorest countries in Asia. But did you know that between the early 1990s and 2019, this small Southeast Asian nation experienced an economic growth rate of over 7% annually? This impressive growth brought poverty rates down from nearly half the population in 1993 to less than one-fifth by 2019. However, the journey has been far from smooth. In recent years, Laos has faced significant economic challenges, including soaring inflation and a rapidly depreciating currency. Between mid-2023 and mid-2024, the Lao kip lost 14% of its value against the United States dollar in official exchanges and a staggering 29% in parallel markets. Inflation rates spiked as high as 24% in May 2022 and again in August 2024. These economic pressures have stalled poverty reduction efforts, with approximately 31% of the population living on less than $3.65 per day, adjusted for purchasing power parity in 2017. Amid these challenges, the women of Laos stand as a testament to cultural pride and resilience. In Laos, women play a crucial role in preserving their heritage. Their traditional attire, particularly the sin, a hand-woven silk skirt, showcases intricate designs that reflect regional identities and social status. The beauty of Lao women is also reflected in their hairstyles, which often feature neatly tied buns adorned with flowers or gold pins, especially during festive celebrations. Their natural beauty shines through in their radiant smiles, a reflection of their warm, hospitable nature. How does a culture's aesthetic beauty intertwine with its history and identity? Laos provides a compelling answer. Laos has emerged as a leader in ecotourism in Southeast Asia, with efforts to preserve its lush jungles, diverse wildlife, and traditional rural communities. For visitors, a cultural highlight is the Lao traditional massage, similar to the famed Thai massage, which focuses on energy flow and relaxation. Another cultural treat is beer Lao, the nation's most beloved beverage, often lauded by international enthusiasts. What aspect of Lao culture, history, or daily life mentioned here fascinates you the most, and how do you think their traditions and resilience shape their identity in the modern world? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel to discover more interesting things. In 2024, Pakistan's gross domestic product per capita, adjusted for purchasing power parity, stands at roughly $5,600. This places it among the lower-income economies in Asia. For context, neighboring India's GDP per capita is around $9,100, while wealthier nations like Singapore and Qatar exceed $80,000. Pakistan's socioeconomic challenges are profound. As of this year, an estimated 40.5% of the population lives below the lower middle-income poverty line, surviving on less than $3.65 a day. This translates to nearly 93 million individuals grappling with acute poverty. On the Human Development Index, Pakistan ranks 154th out of 189 countries, reflecting its struggle with education, healthcare, and overall quality of life. According to the United Nations Development Program, 38.3% of Pakistanis experience multidimensional poverty, meaning their challenges extend beyond income to include education, health, and living standards. An additional 12.9% are vulnerable to falling into this category. Yet, within these hardships lies an incredible story of resilience. Despite these challenges, Pakistani women stand as a testament to strength and determination. Renowned for their vibrant and intricate traditional clothing, women in Pakistan, especially in rural areas, play a pivotal role in preserving cultural heritage. Many are leading social change, advocating for education, gender equality, and community development. Pakistan is more than its challenges. The country is a treasure trove of cultural and artistic expressions. Its famed truck art, with vibrant colors and intricate patterns, has gained global recognition as a unique art form. The annual Shandur Polo Festival, held at the world's highest polo ground, attracts visitors from around the world to witness a tradition deeply embedded in the local heritage. And let's not forget the culinary delights of Pakistan. Dishes like biryani, nahari, and chapli kebabs are celebrated for their bold flavors and rich history. Each bite tells a story of tradition, family, and community. Did you know that despite its abundant natural resources and vibrant traditions, Uzbekistan has historically faced significant poverty levels? In 2015, more than one-third of the population lived below the poverty line defined for middle-income countries, earning less than $7 per day. Fast forward to 2023, and the poverty rate has declined to just under 17%, a remarkable improvement, though challenges remain. With an annual population growth of 2%, but job growth averaging just over 1% in the last 5 years, how does a country like Uzbekistan balance its economic aspirations with the needs of its rapidly growing population? Furthermore, the disparity between income levels has widened. Between 2022 and 2023, the poorest 10% saw their income grow by 6%, but the wealthiest 10% experienced a 30% increase. But there's more to Uzbekistan than its numbers. Let's talk about the women of this nation. Uzbek women are renowned for their grace, resilience, and intelligence. They grow up in a culture that emphasizes respect for elders, a sense of community, and a balance between tradition and modernity. Whether working in professional roles or maintaining households, Uzbek women exemplify a harmony of tradition and adaptability. What's more, Uzbek hospitality is legendary. Guests are often welcomed with tea and traditional bread known as naan, symbolic of the country's warm and inviting spirit. Uzbekistan is also rich in natural wonders and economic paradoxes. It is home to the Muruntau gold mine, the largest open-pit gold mine in the world. Known for its white gold and cotton, Uzbekistan remains one of the top cotton producers globally, even as it strives to diversify its agricultural economy. And then there's the story of the Aral Sea, once the fourth largest lake on the planet. Decades of water diversion projects have reduced it to a fraction of its original size, leaving environmental and economic challenges in its wake. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Did you know there's a hidden hill in Mexico that's actually the largest pyramid on Earth? Or that women here perform a daring ballet on horseback? Mexico isn't just about tacos and beaches. It's a land of jaw-dropping surprises, from ancient traditions to mind-bending modern realities. Ever heard of a pink bus just for women, or an island covered in dolls that's said to move on their own? Stay tuned, because what we're about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about Mexico. In Mexico City, women have access to exclusive buses and designated subway sections, a step aimed at reducing harassment and ensuring comfort during commutes. For example, since the year 2000, the city's metro has reserved the first 2 cars of each train for women and children under 12 during peak hours. This initiative came in response to alarming statistics. Mexico City introduced pink buses in 2008. These women-only buses operate across various routes and are easily recognizable, providing another option for safer travel. A 2021 study found that women-only subway cars reduced sexual harassment incidents by just under 3%. Yet, challenges remain, such as inconsistent enforcement and the limited availability of these exclusive services compared to regular ones. Cultural norms in Mexico often play a significant role in how women experience public spaces. For example, Mexican men are known for their caballeros nature, a chivalrous attitude marked by opening doors, paying for dates, and offering their seats to women on public transport. Interestingly, a study conducted in 2020 revealed that many women in Mexico City prefer using general sections of the subway. Why? Because in mixed sections, men are more likely to offer their seats, a small yet impactful gesture of respect. How does this compare to other countries? Take Turkey, for instance, where public transportation lacks similar women-only provisions. Many Turkish women face daily harassment without these safeguards, creating a stark contrast in approaches to women's safety in public spaces. But Mexican traditions don't stop there. Have you ever heard of the quinceañera, a grand celebration that marks a girl's transition into womanhood? It's more than just a party, and in the next section, we'll explore what makes this rite of passage so powerful. The quinceañera is one of Mexico's most striking cultural traditions, a ceremony that blends religious devotion, family values, and a young woman's symbolic entry into adulthood. The celebration begins with a solemn Thanksgiving Mass. The young woman, dressed in an elaborate gown that rivals wedding attire, arrives with her parents, godparents, and a court of honor, typically close friends or family members. During the service, symbolic gifts like a rosary or necklace are blessed by the priest, representing her commitment to faith and her readiness to take on adult responsibilities. Following the church service, the real celebration begins with a vibrant reception with music, dancing, and age-old rituals. One of the most emotional moments is the changing of the shoes. Here, the girl's flat shoes are replaced with high heels, a symbolic yet powerful gesture marking her transition from childhood to womanhood. Another significant tradition is the ceremony of the last doll, where her father gifts her a doll, one final token of her childhood. This moment often leaves families teary-eyed, as it publicly acknowledges that the young girl they raised is now stepping into adulthood. Historians debate the origins of the quinceañera. Some trace it back to Catholic customs brought by Spanish conquerors in the 16th century. Others argue it is an adaptation of an ancient Aztec ceremony that marked a girl's readiness for marriage and adult responsibilities. What is clear is that this tradition has stood the test of time. Interestingly, in modern Latino communities, especially in the United States, this cultural tradition has evolved. While the core meaning remains intact, contemporary celebrations often incorporate personal touches and modern trends, from choreographed dances to lavish party themes. Families spend anywhere from a few $100s to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on their preferences and resources. For many, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event that brings extended families and communities together. But Mexican traditions don't just celebrate growing up, they also celebrate incredible skill and bravery. Have you ever heard of women performing an elegant yet daring ballet on horseback? Before we continue, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel. And if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. Deal? The Escaramuza Charra is the only female equestrian event in Mexico's historic Feria, the country's national rodeo. The word Escaramuza means skirmish, a fitting name for this breathtaking display of skill, precision, and tradition. A team of 16 women dressed in colorful, hand-embroidered Adelita dresses and wide-brimmed sombreros, their horses galloping in perfect harmony. Only 8 riders perform at a time, side saddle, weaving intricate patterns to traditional Mexican music. This choreographed spectacle isn't just about beauty, it's about strength, control, and teamwork honed over months of practice. The routines take place in a lienzo, a circular arena specially designed for charreta events, where every turn and maneuver must be flawlessly synchronized. From February to November, Escaramuza teams compete across Mexico and the United States. The U.S. Nationals are typically held on Labor Day weekend, while Mexico's grand finale draws over 80 teams from both sides of the border to compete for national pride and recognition. But this event isn't just about entertainment. It's a powerful celebration of Mexico's cultural heritage and the role of women in its history. Could this be the most captivating and overlooked equestrian sport in the world? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you know that Mexico's real name isn't just Mexico? Officially, it's called the United Mexican States, or in Spanish, Estados Unidos Mexicanos. This isn't just a country but a federation of states, much like the United States of America. Mexico is divided into 31 states, each with its own distinct culture, traditions, and even governance. From the laid-back beaches of Quintana Roo to the bustling streets of Mexico City, the diversity is truly remarkable. However, every state operates under its own set of laws and regulations. Just like in America, crossing from one state to another can feel like stepping into a new mini-country. If you're traveling across states in Mexico, your phone service might start roaming when you cross state borders. Traveling from one state to another can cause small but noticeable changes to your phone plan, depending on your provider. It's a small reminder of how vast and independent each region is within Mexico's borders. But Mexico's surprises don't end here. Just beneath the surface of a quiet hill lies the largest pyramid on Earth, a structure bigger than Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza. How did it remain hidden for centuries? That's coming up next. When people think of ancient pyramids, Egypt often comes to mind. But did you know that Mexico is home to the largest pyramid by volume in the world? It's called the Great Pyramid of Colula, or Tlaquehualtepec in the Nahuatl language, meaning artificial mountain. Located in the charming city of Colula in the state of Puebla, this colossal structure stands at about 55 meters high and spans an astonishing 45 acres. By volume, it's bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. But here's the catch. At first glance, it doesn't even look like a pyramid. Overgrown with grass and trees, the Great Pyramid of Colula resembles a natural hill, so much so that a Spanish church was built on top during the 16th century without its true form being realized. So who built this awe-inspiring monument? The story begins in the 3rd century before the Common Era when the ancient Olmec Xicalonca civilization began construction. Over the centuries, the pyramid expanded and evolved as it was adopted by subsequent cultures, including the Maya and the Aztecs. Each group left its mark, turning this pyramid into a layered symbol of Mexico's rich and complex history. Today, the Great Pyramid of Colula is a symbol of Mexico's ingenuity and resilience, a titan of engineering that continues to captivate those who visit. But Mexico's cultural treasures don't stop here. Have you ever seen clothing that's as much about heritage as it is about art? Next, we'll explore the stunning traditional attire of Mexico's Mazawa women, and what makes it a living symbol of identity and pride. The Mazawas are an indigenous people of Mexico, primarily inhabiting the northwestern portion of the state of Mexico. The traditional attire of Mazawa women is a stunning reflection of cultural identity, filled with intricate details and deep symbolism. The heart of this attire lies in a highly pleated skirt called the chinquet. Often crafted from satin and lace, its vibrant hues, like Mexican pink, royal blue, and lilac, catch the eye, while an embroidered underskirt peeks out beneath, adding layers of artistry. Worn over the blouse is the quetzalcoatl, a hand-embroidered poncho-like garment, paired with the rebozo, a shawl that offers both comfort and cultural pride. The outfit is tied together, quite literally, by the faja, a woven sash considered the body's energy center and adorned with designs that tell silent stories, birds symbolizing freedom and beauty, or stars representing guardianship and protection. But here's where it gets even more fascinating: the earrings. Large crescent-shaped silver earrings, traditionally made from coins given by grooms during engagements, are a symbol of commitment and craftsmanship passed down through generations. Which part of the Mazawa attire do you find the most fascinating? The symbolic sash, the crescent-shaped earrings, or the intricate hand-embroidered designs, and why? Let us know in the comments below. Over 1.6 million U.S. citizens now call Mexico their home, according to the most recent U.S. State Department data for the year 2024. This place isn't just a top destination for American retirees, It's also the #1 spot for us travelers seeking adventure, tranquility, or a fresh start. According to Mexico's last census, nearly 800,000 U.S. citizens were officially residing in the country. Out of those, about 500,000 are children between the ages of 5 and 19, born to American parents. Why are so many people, from retirees to young families, flocking to Mexico? For some, it's about stretching their retirement savings. A couple can comfortably live in certain areas of Mexico for as little as $2,000 per month. Others are captivated by Mexico's incredible diversity, from the peaceful beaches of Baja California to the electrifying energy of Mexico City. The cobbled streets of San Miguel de Allende and the colorful markets of Oaxaca, Mexico, continue to defy expectations. Its growing expat population is more than just a statistic. It's a powerful reflection of the strong connection between these two nations. But Mexico's appeal isn't just about the people, it's about the places. What if I told you there's a magical waterway where floating gardens have existed since the time of the Aztecs? Stay tuned. The Xochimilco Floating Gardens, or Chinampas, in southern Mexico City, are a testament to ancient Aztec ingenuity. Built over 700 years ago, these man-made islands were created by layering mud, silt, and vegetation into wooden frames anchored to the lakebed. The result was highly fertile land capable of producing up to 7 harvests annually, making Xochimilco an essential food source for the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan. Today, Xochimilco, meaning the place of flowers in Nahuatl, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, home to a unique ecosystem, including the critically endangered axolotl, a rare amphibian with regenerative abilities. Visitors can experience the vibrant culture by riding colorful trajineras along the canals and enjoying mariachi music and local cuisine. However, this historic site faces serious threats from urban expansion, pollution, and climate change, which endanger both the Chinampas and the delicate ecosystems they support. Conservation efforts led by local farmers and environmental groups focus on ecotourism, organic agriculture, and species preservation to protect Xochimilco's legacy. As one of the last remaining examples of sustainable Aztec agriculture, this place offers a powerful lesson in resilience and sustainability while reminding us of the urgent need to preserve cultural and ecological treasures for future generations. Mexico ranks as the 7th country in the world with the most UNESCO World Heritage Sites. With a total of 34 sites, these incredible locations are divided into 3 categories: natural, cultural, and mixed. With the natural sites, there are 6 of them, and they are nothing short of breathtaking. Take the Cañón del Sumidero, for example, a dramatic canyon surrounded by lush forests and wildlife, or the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve, where millions of monarch butterflies migrate each year from Canada, creating a spectacle of life and movement. With the cultural sites, there are 27 of these, ranging from ancient ruins to vibrant city centers that feel like living museums. The historic centers of Mexico City, Guanajuato, and Puebla are standout examples. Walk their cobblestone streets, and you'll see Spanish colonial architecture, colorful buildings, and bustling markets that tell stories of centuries past. And of course, there are the archaeological wonders, sites like Chichen Itza, one of the new 7 wonders of the world, which showcases the ingenuity of ancient Mesoamerican civilizations. But one site falls into the mixed category, blending natural and cultural significance. It's the historic center of Oaxaca and the ancient Monte Alban ruins, a place where indigenous heritage meets stunning natural beauty. And let's not forget the agave fields of Tequila, where one of the world's most famous drinks was born, a landscape that holds stories of tradition, agriculture, and culture. But here's something you might not expect about Mexico City. This stunning capital is sinking, literally. What's causing it, and how does it connect back to the city's ancient roots? We'll explore Mexico City's battle against time and water next. Mexico City is not only the oldest city in North America, but also one of the highest, sitting over 7,000 feet above sea level. This massive metropolis is built on the ruins of the ancient Aztec city of Tenochtitlan, which once stood on a vast lake. Centuries ago, the Aztecs faced the challenge of living on a lake and developed an ingenious system of dikes and canals to control flooding and manage their watery surroundings. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they were astonished by the engineering feats of the Aztecs. However, instead of preserving this advanced system, they decided to drain the lake to reclaim land and build their new city, a decision that would come back to affect future generations. Today, the consequences are impossible to ignore. Mexico City is sinking, and not by a small margin. The city is dropping between 6 and 8 inches every year, one of the fastest rates of subsidence in the world. The cause: to sustain a population of over 22 million people, vast amounts of water are pumped daily from underground aquifers, leaving empty pockets beneath the surface. As these pockets collapse, so does the ground above them. The sinking is visible everywhere, from slanted buildings to cracked streets, and it's happening faster than efforts to stabilize the city. This raises a critical question: how do you save a city that's quite literally disappearing beneath your feet? Can human innovation undo the effects of a decision made centuries ago? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned as we explore more shocking stories about Mexico's history and present-day challenges. Did you know that Mexico is the world's largest exporter of beer? In the year 2022, Mexico shipped beer worth more than $5.4 billion, a figure that outpaced every other beer exporting country by a significant margin. But what makes Mexico the global leader in beer exports, and how did it rise to dominate the industry? To answer that, we need to look at the roots of brewing in Mexico, a heritage that dates back centuries. Before European colonization, indigenous communities created fermented drinks using local ingredients like corn and agave. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they introduced European brewing techniques and the use of barley, laying the foundation for what would become one of the world's most successful beer industries. Today, Mexican beer stands out for its quality, diversity, and global appeal. Brands like Corona, Modelo, and Pacifico have become household names, enjoyed everywhere from the beaches of Europe to the bars of the United States. But it's not just about popularity. Mexico's brewing industry continues to innovate, producing unique flavors and styles that cater to both casual drinkers and beer enthusiasts. Mexico's beer exports may surprise you, but what if I told you that Mexico is also home to one of nature's strangest wonders, an underwater river hidden beneath a cenote? Stay tuned. Cenote Angelita, located roughly 17 kilometers south of Tulum in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, is one of the most surreal underwater sites in the world. This natural sinkhole plunges to a staggering depth of about 60 meters and holds a phenomenon that defies expectations: an underwater river created by science and nature. At the top, you'll find crystal clear fresh water extending down to about 29 meters, but just below, a dense, fog-like layer of hydrogen sulfide settles in, separating the fresh water from the salt water below. This cloud, formed by decomposing organic matter, creates an illusion of a flowing river complete with eerie submerged trees and branches. Dive beneath it, and the visibility drops as you descend into the darker saltwater depths, which few dare to explore without proper lighting and experience. But there's more to this place than its mystifying appearance. To the ancient Maya, it was portals to the underworld, places where the divine met the earthly. Surrounded by dense jungle, this place carries a sense of mystery and reverence that resonates to this day. Every year, something extraordinary happens in the heart of Mexico. Millions of monarch butterflies make an epic journey of nearly 3,000 miles from Canada and the United States to the cool, Oyamo fir forests of central Mexico. For centuries, this migration remained a mystery. It wasn't until 1975 that researchers Fred and Nora Urquhart, alongside local guides, uncovered the monarch's wintering grounds in Mexico. Their discovery, published in National Geographic the following year, stunned the world and turned the monarch butterfly into a global symbol of nature's wonders. Today, the monarchs face a fight for survival. Climate change, habitat destruction, and widespread herbicide use have caused monarch numbers to plummet. The winter of 2023 to 2024 recorded the second smallest monarch butterfly roost since tracking began in 1993. That's over 30 years of data pointing to one troubling reality: time is running out for these incredible creatures. In December of the year 2024, U.S. wildlife officials proposed listing the monarch butterfly as a threatened species. If approved, this move would protect critical habitats and introduce federal measures to support recovery efforts. Amid the struggles, there are glimmers of hope. Some monarch populations are showing surprising resilience, with groups adapting to warmer climates in states like South Carolina and California. Mexico is home to 59 distinct varieties of corn. For thousands of years, this ancient crop, known locally as maize, has been at the heart of Mexican culture. Long before modern agriculture, they carefully cultivated and nurtured corn, shaping it into the vibrant, diverse crop we know today. This isn't just your standard yellow corn. We're talking about a kaleidoscope of colors: reds, blues, purples, and whites, each variety unique in taste, texture, and purpose. Fast forward to today, and Mexican farmers are still fighting to preserve this legacy. In a world increasingly dominated by genetically modified crops and global trade pressures, why are they so committed? Because corn in Mexico isn't just food. It's a living connection to the land, history, and culture. Each kernel carries generations of tradition, stories of survival, resilience, and identity. Ever heard of the butcher with its deep red hue? Or the delicate baby blue, small but packed with flavor? These are just two examples of corn varieties you'll rarely find outside Mexico. The real magic, though, is what happens in the kitchen. From warm tortillas cooked over an open flame to rich tamales filled with savory or sweet goodness, corn is the backbone of Mexican cuisine. Even the drinks are worth exploring. Take atole, a thick, comforting beverage made from corn dough. But not all of Mexico's treasures are rooted in its soil. Up next, we uncover the story of the Island of the Dolls, where hundreds of dolls hang from trees in one of the country's eeriest and most mysterious places. Stick around, you won't want to miss it. Hidden deep within the canals of Xochimilco, just outside Mexico City, lies a place that continues to amaze and intrigue visitors from around the world: the Island of the Dolls, or Isla de las Muñecas. This island's story begins with a man named Don Julian Santana Barrera, its longtime caretaker. According to local accounts, he once came across a young girl who had experienced an accident in the nearby waters. Not long after, he discovered a doll floating nearby and placed it in a tree, believing it would honor her memory and bring peace to the island. What followed was a lifelong commitment. For over 50 years, Don Julian collected dolls, many worn and weathered by time, and displayed them all around the island. Each one, in its own unique way, added to the island's quiet, contemplative atmosphere. By the time he passed away in the year 2001, the island had transformed into a captivating, almost surreal landscape that draws curious visitors to this day. Reaching the island requires a tranquil boat ride through the serene Xochimilco canals lasting about 2 hours. But what you'll encounter is unlike anywhere else: dolls of all shapes and sizes resting in the trees, their time-worn features softened by the elements. Many visitors even bring their own dolls to contribute, ensuring the story continues for generations. What surprises people most are the local stories surrounding the dolls. Some visitors claim they've felt the dolls watching them, with their eyes seeming to move or their arms gently shifting. Others describe soft sounds carried by the breeze, as if the dolls are part of the island's living spirit. Whether these are reflections of the island's unique energy or simply the power of its legend, the experience leaves a lasting impression on all who visit. The Island of the Dolls has been featured in programs like Ghost Adventures and Lore, but no television show can truly capture the island's quiet beauty and mysterious charm. It is a place where imagination meets tradition, where stories and symbols blend to create something unforgettable. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time. North Korean troops, sent by Kim Jong Un to aid Russia in Ukraine, are reportedly abandoning their posts, and some are even rumored to be siding with Ukraine. What's behind this shocking defiance, and what does it mean for Putin's war and Kim's grip on power? Let's unravel this unfolding story of desperation, betrayal, and geopolitical chaos. But how did North Korea, a country with no direct ties to Ukraine, get pulled into this conflict? Number 9. Context: North Korea's unexpected involvement in Ukraine. When Vladimir Putin launched his special military operation in the year 2022, he envisioned a swift victory, capturing Kyiv and cementing Russia's dominance. Instead, the war dragged on, with Ukraine's resistance, supported by Western allies, turning the conflict into a grueling stalemate. Facing heavy losses in manpower and equipment, Putin sought an unlikely ally: North Korea. By mid-year 2024, Kim Jong Un's regime and Russia formalized a military pact. Soon after, between 11,000 and 12,000 North Korean troops arrived in Russia, marking the first large-scale deployment of foreign regular forces to aid the Kremlin. Intelligence reports also confirmed shipments of artillery shells and rockets from North Korea to Russia, flouting UN sanctions. For Putin, this was a bid to bolster his war effort. For Kim, it was a chance to secure critical resources like food, oil, and military aid. As these soldiers stepped onto Russian soil, they believed they were heroes in a strategic alliance. But what greeted them was far from what they were promised. Number 8. The deployment: a harsh reality for North Korean troops. The North Korean soldiers sent to Russia found themselves in dire conditions. Despite promises of financial compensation, these troops were ill-equipped and poorly trained for modern warfare. Language barriers, with one translator for every 30 soldiers, hampered coordination with Russian forces. Soldiers' earnings, touted at $2,000 monthly, were largely seized by the regime, leaving families with little to show for their sacrifice. Elite units like the Storm Corps struggled in Ukraine's flat, open terrain, an environment vastly different from the mountainous regions they trained. Reports of food shortages, inadequate medical supplies, and outdated weapons added to their plight, leaving many soldiers disillusioned. What do you think about this alliance between Russia and North Korea? Will it hold under pressure, or is it doomed to collapse? Share your thoughts below. We're curious to hear your take on this fragile partnership. If you thought their deployment was already a challenge, wait until you hear about the crushing conditions they face on the front lines. Number 7. Conditions faced by North Korean soldiers. North Korean soldiers deployed in Ukraine are facing a brutal and harsh reality, far removed from the rigid, controlled environment of their homeland. While many of these soldiers are assigned non-combat roles, such as manual labor, others are sent directly into the chaos of the front lines, fighting alongside Russian troops. However, these soldiers are often ill-prepared for the modern nature of the conflict. Equipped with outdated weapons and gear, they find themselves vulnerable in a fast-evolving war where technological advancements and strategic expertise are key to survival. The difficulties go beyond the battlefield. Reports suggest that the North Korean troops are enduring severe shortages of food, medical supplies, and ammunition, conditions that exacerbate the already harsh nature of their deployment. As if the physical hardships weren't enough, they also face immense psychological strain. Isolated from their families and the outside world, these soldiers are unable to communicate with anyone back home, leaving them emotionally detached and mentally strained. The most glaring issue was the language barrier. None of the North Korean soldiers spoke Russian, creating immediate challenges in communication. Coordination between North Korean and Russian forces became a logistical nightmare. This obstacle hindered everything from basic operations to strategic planning. Training was also a major problem. Leaked footage from the front lines showed North Korean soldiers struggling with basic military tasks. In one video, a soldier was seen pointing at a sheet of paper, asking a Russian trainer how to pronounce a Russian word. This scene exposed the lack of preparation and the chaos that ensued when these soldiers were thrown into an unfamiliar war zone with inadequate training. Moreover, the pressure to remain loyal to Kim Jong Un is constant and intense. Disobedience or attempts at defection are met with severe consequences, not only for the soldiers themselves but also for their families. Despite the immense risks, reports have surfaced that some North Korean soldiers are considering fleeing to escape the unbearable conditions they are facing. These soldiers are not just pawns in a distant conflict, they are part of a much larger geopolitical strategy. North Korea's support for Russia and Ukraine is a calculated move, offering military assistance in exchange for weapons and aid. But even the most disciplined soldiers can only endure so much. What would push them to defy Kim's iron grip and risk everything to escape? Number 6. Reports of defection. Reports of North Korean soldiers panicking and even attempting have shocked many, given the strict discipline and control traditionally enforced by the regime. Many are reportedly struggling with severe psychological stress, cut off from their families, unable to communicate with the outside world, and overwhelmed by the bad environment. Is it any wonder that some, particularly those stationed on the front lines, have started expressing a desire to flee? Yet, the danger of defection is immense. The regime's description of escape attempts is ruthless, not only for the defectors themselves but also for their families back home. While no successful defections have been confirmed, sources like NK News and the Korea Herald report that soldiers' morale is crumbling, and some are beginning to question their loyalty to Kim Jong Un. This growing disillusionment is a surprising development, especially for an army known for its rigid discipline and totalitarian control. These rare reports suggest that the psychological toll of the war is taking a significant toll, leading to cracks in the facade of unquestioning loyalty. One story reported by the Kiev Independent in October revealed that 18 North Korean soldiers had deserted their positions in the Kursk and Bryansk regions, not far from the Ukrainian border. The exact reasons behind their desertion remain unclear, but fear seems to have been a key factor. Interestingly, Russian commanders reportedly tried to hide this defection, likely fearing the embarrassment it would cause for both Putin and Kim Jong Un. Further details came from the Hankyoreh, a South Korean newspaper, on October 22nd. According to their sources, these soldiers were left stranded in the woods for several days with no food and no instructions from their Russian superiors. Faced with starvation and thirst, they made the difficult decision to flee, hoping for a chance at survival. After running more than 60 kilometers from their original positions, they were eventually hunted down. What happened to them after their capture remains unclear, but reports from Business Insider suggest that North Korean soldiers caught attempting to defect face severe discipline. What drives soldiers conditioned for loyalty and obedience to abandon their posts in the dead of night? The reasons are as chilling as they are revealing. Before exploring, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just hit the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It helps this channel so much, and if you do that, I will do everything I can to make this show even better for you. Deal? Number 5. Reasons for fleeing. In a phone interview with Radio Free Europe, former North Korean soldier Han Lee, who served in the Artillery and Reconnaissance Battalion, shed light on the grim situation faced by his fellow countrymen sent to fight in Ukraine. Lee, who spent over 3 years in North Korea's military, explained that these soldiers have never experienced real combat. They have no real combat experience, he said, emphasizing that they were completely unprepared for the harsh realities of war in Kursk. The soldiers' lack of training is a key issue. According to Lee, North Korean soldiers are ill-equipped to handle the advanced technology provided by Russia, such as night vision and thermal imaging devices. They don't train with that kind of equipment, he said. Many of these soldiers are struggling with basic tools such as landmines, further highlighting their lack of readiness. If 12,000 North Korean soldiers are sent to Russia, as believed, that would mean nearly 10,800 soldiers could either never return or be injured. Lee himself believes this estimate is realistic. given the soldiers' minimal training and the foreign, hostile environment they now find themselves in. After all, most have never set foot outside North Korea, let alone face the advanced weaponry of Ukraine's forces, such as missiles and drones. The situation is all the more alarming when considering the soldiers' lack of knowledge about modern warfare. The last time North Korea sent troops abroad was during the Vietnam War, more than 50 years ago. This makes the current deployment even more disastrous for these soldiers, who are completely unprepared for the brutal fighting in Ukraine. A disturbing twist in the story comes from reports that some North Korean soldiers, who have never had uncensored access to the internet, are now finding ways to access information about their chances of survival. What if they discover that military experts believe only 1 in 10 of them has a chance of making it out of the war unscathed? How would this affect their morale? According to Lee, this fear is real. The soldiers are also struggling with language barriers, making coordination with Russian troops nearly impossible. Ukrainian forces have already demonstrated their capability to strike at North Korean soldiers with deadly precision, underscoring just how vulnerable they are. In addition to facing the brutal reality of combat, these soldiers were promised financial compensation for their service. Russia reportedly offers each North Korean soldier around $2,000 a month, an enormous sum compared to the $50 per month they would earn in North Korea. However, he revealed a bitter truth. Most of that money will go to the state, not to the soldiers themselves. They will not be compensated, he said. Their parents and families will not be compensated either. So these soldiers risk their lives with no real prospect of improving their futures. For the surviving soldiers, returning home means returning to the same bad life they left behind, while Kim Jong Un grows richer off the financial arrangements with Russia. This situation is eroding the morale of the North Korean army, as soldiers realize they are being exploited for a war they didn't choose and cannot win. On top of this, Ukraine has launched a propaganda campaign targeting the North Korean soldiers, urging them to desert before it's too late. Lee believes many of them will choose to flee rather than face the wrath of Ukraine's forces. Desertions have already been reported, particularly after Putin's counteroffensive at Kursk. Do you believe these defections could lead to bigger cracks in Kim Jong Un's control over his military? Let us know your predictions in the comments. For those who remain, the grip of the regime doesn't loosen, even thousands of miles from home. But what happens when that control starts to slip? Number 4. North Korea's control over its soldiers. North Korea's strict control over its military is well known, but recent reports shed light on just how deeply the regime influences